Welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at one of Liverpool's most notorious crime legends, who has gone on to change his life around. In the summer of 2018, one of Liverpool's most notorious criminals filmed himself surrounded by celebrating children in a poverty-stricken slum of Sierra Leone. Sam Walker had just overseen the delivery of a container full of supplies, and the installation of a water tank and pipes, to the African country's capital, Freetown. Amid clapping and cheering, one grateful man said, "We are happy that our brother Sam has come to help us with water and sanitation. We thank God for him." Mr. Walker, who had made a 4,500-mile trip and seemingly spent thousands of pounds, told the camera, "Now, no child in that village is going to have to drink dirty water again." The career crook had traveled by private jet to Belgium, flown to Spain, caught a cargo ship to Morocco, then driven through the Sahara Desert to reach his destination. All the way he taunted UK police officers in social media posts, laughing at the end of his epic trip, "Better luck trying to catch me when I go out of the country next time, Merseyside police." However, Mr. Walker was not even wanted by Merseyside police. It was in fact officers in Cheshire were looking for him, over nothing more than failing to answer bail for driving while disqualified, although any arrest would have, of course, prevented the astonishing journey that he made, to help those less fortunate than ourselves over in West Africa. Since his return to the UK, Mr. Walker has committed yet more offences, including 2 high-speed police chases and smuggling a mobile phone in prison, leading to him being jailed for 33 months. With more than 45 convictions for some 130 offences, Sam Walker is one of the most prolific and enigmatic criminals to habitually frequent the UK criminal underworld. Jailed for 4.5 years back in 2008, he rose to prominence in his early 20s as part of a gang peddling heroin and crack cocaine on the streets of Halton. Earning up to £2,500 a day, the mob spread misery around Widnes, Runcorn and the surrounding areas, before being caught in a police sting that saw £12 million of drugs seized, along with luxury cars, bundles of cash and jewellery. Mr. Walker was released after serving half that sentence, but repeatedly hauled before the courts again for a catalogue of crimes between 2012 and 2014, including some violence, firearms, counterfeit cash scams and multiple driving offences. He became known for his courtroom outbursts, branding sentences a stitch-up and slamming one hearing as a kangaroo court, yet on other occasions was charming and polite. In 2013, Mr. Walker was cleared of being involved in a plan to smuggle drugs and mobile phones into Doncaster prison, whilst visiting an inmate there, after which he unveiled a black t-shirt, bearing the slogan "Not Guilty" beneath his jacket. He was also found not guilty of being one of 3 masked men, armed with Beretta air pistols, who forced their way into a home near Runcorn, as well as another counterfeit cash accusation. His brazen disregard for authority once saw him leave a threatening voice message on a police officer's phone, which led to an extension to an existing jail sentence. Mr. Walker seemed determined to take over Liverpool's criminal underworld, and in 2013 he is also believed to have clashed with one of the most infamous gangsters in Liverpool, Stephen the Devil French, in a furious prison row. Mr. Walker said he accused the former underworld taxman of trying to bully other prisoners at HMP Outcourse, then claimed he punched Mr. French, causing him to fall down a flight of stairs. If you'd like to hear more about Stephen the Devil French, there is a video on our channel, please check it out and don't forget to subscribe. In April 2014, Mr. Walker's notoriety grew even further, when he allegedly threatened to end the football career of England star Ross Barkley, supposedly as part of a dispute over a woman they had both dated. He told the football player, "You know what this is about, so don't act stupid, or your football career will come to an end." Having spent the vast majority of his adult life in prison, Mr. Walker has now decided he wanted to turn his back on crime, and even talked about writing inspirational books for children. However, as good as his intentions were, in 2016, he was handed 20 months in jail after being convicted of a 100 miles per hour police chase. If this wasn't enough, Mr. Walker then made the mistake of waging a verbal battle with one of Liverpool's most formidable judges, which inevitably earned him even more time behind bars. Mr. Walker, who during his trial had waved a copy of a local UK newspaper that contained a story about a sex offender spared jail, to make the point that, compared to his punishment of jail, community sentences had been given to some paedophiles. He refused to apologise to Judge Stephen Everett, and was given an additional 3 months for contempt of court, then a further 6 months for a second foul-mouthed tirade. Mr. Walker said, "Nonces come to this court, they destroy people's lives, they don't get jail. I go on a little drive and I get sent to jail. Where is the justice there? There is no justice for the victims of these pedophiles. That's why every time I see them in jail, I punch their heads in, and that's on every chance I get. I dish out the real justice, because you don't. Give me any sentence you want, to be honest, I don't really care." Judge Everett rejected the notion there was any police, Crown Prosecution Service and judiciary conspiracy against Mr. Walker. In 2017, Mr. Walker took 8 rough sleepers off the city's streets to put them up in the Shankly Hotel. Not long after his release from prison, he covered the costs for the men and women to spend 2 nights at the hotel. He said he wanted to give something back because sleeping in a warm bed and wearing clean clothes every day is not the reality for some people. Later that year, he also became embroiled in another spat with Mr. French, this time online, mocking the fighting preacher, over his claims he was abused by Jimmy Savile as a child, and posting a mock-up of Mr. French in a Teletubbies costume. But when Mr. French posted a flyer, suggesting they were going to have an organized fight in Wrexham, this along with the caption, "Whenever a problem arrives, we do 3 things, face it, fight it, and finish it," Mr. Walker responded, by calling him a freak. Mr. Walker said Mr. French was using him for attention and publicity, and suggested the ex-martial arts champion had failed to turn up, when they could have resolved their dispute previously. Mr. Walker posted a video, which explained why he was going to skip a date at Chester Magistrates Court to take food, clothes, toys and water to Sierra Leone, much of which was donated by Liverpool residents. He said, "I was in a catch-22, attend court and risk that small possibility, of potentially going to prison, and then I am not going to be able to do a container, and give it out to the people in the slums. Or do I just forget court for now and go to Africa, and help the people? I did the right thing and chose the latter." Mr. Walker said he knew this meant he was guaranteed a prison sentence, but told UK police officers, "I want to let you know that you can come and get me when I've come back from Africa." At the end of that May, he then posted his How to Get Out of the UK video, as he embarked on the extraordinary expedition that culminated in him declaring how his efforts now meant no woman or child has to ever risk their lives again by drinking dirty sewage water in the slums. His videos showed him seemingly leaving Britain, in the passenger seat of a hired light aircraft, laughing about armed Belgian police packing some serious artillery, and jumping a boat to Morocco. When he came back to the UK, and still a wanted man, Walker drove away from superfast autoglazing in St. Helens, without paying for a new windscreen, on June 28. The court heard he distracted the owner of the garage before making off, in a silver Rover MG ZT, but he told a jury he always intended to pay and only fled, because he spotted police looking for him. Mr. Walker was caught by officers from Merseyside Police's Matrix unit on July 21. He later posted pictures of injuries that he claimed were inflicted by officers during his arrest. However, having been taken to Chester Magistrates Court, he was again released, and led police on a 100 miles per hour police chase, around Speke, in a white BMW, which he crashed, but luckily managed to escape from. Mr. Walker was finally locked up after police stopped and arrested him in a Mercedes in Helsby, Cheshire on August 21, when he had 4 ecstasy tablets. He was then caught with a mobile phone in his cell at HMP Liverpool on September 18, used not for crime, but for posting on social media. When on trial over the windscreen, Mr. Walker claimed a friend paid £200 cash on his behalf for it a few days afterwards. He was convicted of theft, despite repeatedly telling the jury he didn't think it was in the public interest for him to be on trial over such a minor matter and that proceedings must have cost the taxpayer thousands of pounds. A female supporter later posted online that Mr. Walker was in his friend's dad's car, and would have stayed and paid, but for police being hot on his heels. She said, "This man gives away thousands to charity even when he's in prison. So why would he try to steal a £150 windscreen?" It was quite clear throughout that the police forced the witness to turn up and pursue this, even when he said he didn't want to because he had been paid, so it wasn't theft. Clearly, the police have some vendetta against Sam. Some still believe Mr. Walker is the victim of mistreatment at the hands of the police, but even he has admitted that it was his previous choice of living the life of crime, which has put him in the firing line, and behind bars, so often. When he was locked up, his long-standing lawyer, David Woods, whom Mr. Walker has since sacked, said he went to Africa because he wanted to be a good role model to his son and he wanted to help people who were worse off than him. He said his client, an intelligent man, decided to change his ways because what he saw in Africa shocked him. The changes that Mr. Walker has applied to his life, especially from the life he came from, will always be remembered in the UK criminal underworld, and we hope Mr. Walker makes good on his promise, by continuing to help those in need. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe.